So this past week, a family member of mine, whom I love very dearly, requested that I put a mask on my face and quipped, "It's just a mask." It's not just a mask. But before commenting on why it's not just a mask, it's important to comment on how this attitude is similar to those seen whenever a principled stance is taken and is indicative of a deeper problem. It's extremely easy and convenient to minimize small daily activities such as putting on a mask and chastise those who don't play along. It's not a big deal. You're making a big deal out of it. Indicating one is making life harder and more, stressful when not completing your small, prescribed, insignificant task. But the exact opposite is true. Stress is born when one is not grounded by principle. It arises when one is not tethered to anything, but instead floats like a balloon in the wind of uncertainty. When one's actions are based not on a firm foundation of knowledge, but on cult-like adherence to what politicians and influencers are shouting through megaphones. When no guiding principle exists and you run risk of cognitive dissonance, that is stressful. It's also not a very good way to make life decisions. It's not just a mask. Far from it. It's my expression of the hours of unbiased research conducted in an attempt to seek truth wherever it may lead me. It's a symbol of my ability to stand independent of any voice that tries to indoctrinate me through blind allegiance. But most importantly, it's how I stand up for the millions that are needlessly losing their lives and livelihoods due to the worldwide lockdowns, including tens of thousands of excess deaths due to heart disease, diabetes, and dementia, according to the CDC, tens of thousands of child abuse cases that are going unreported, according to the New York Times, 130 million people globally now at risk of starvation, according to the UN, 150 million people globally at risk of extreme poverty, according to the World Bank, over 6,000 additional children under the age of 5 that are at risk of death per day, according to UNICEF, the 1.4 million estimated potential excess tuberculosis deaths worldwide, according to the New York Times, 385,000 excess malaria deaths, according to the New York Times. These are not people that are well off. These are the least well off among us. Not to mention the 40% of job loss among those earning less than $40,000 a year, according to the Federal Reserve, not including the 266 hospitals in this country that furloughed workers because they were never overwhelmed and lost millions due to canceled procedures that were put in place and scheduled to save lives, including tens of thousands of cancer screenings that went undone, the ramifications of which we'll see in years to come. So my bare face is not some idle rebellion. It's not a self-righteous stick-it-to-the-maniosis engaged in because my side told me to. My bare face is meant to lay bare the incredible harm done by 1, the lockdowns, and 2, any time we minimize daily actions to nothing but ridicule. It is nothing but small daily actions that cause change. It is nothing but small daily actions that will save the people just mentioned. As Mises writes in Human Action, every action is always in perfect agreement with the scale of values or wants, because these scales are nothing but an instrument for the interpretation of a man's acting. And what must be of highest value is freedom and to do no harm. So it's not just a mask.